Hello, this is the student number D00140317, Games Development student, Year 2, Semester 1. The course is Games Programming, teacher John Lone. This project is the CA project. For my project, I decided to do a text-based adventure game, a first-person text-based adventure game based on an archaeological dig. This is the opening scene of the text-based game. As you can see, the entire game is based on choice options, so the user will be presented with 1, 2 or 3 different choice options, and they'll have to choose the correct one to continue on. If they choose the wrong one, then they will be brought to a game over screen, or sorry, a try again screen, where they can choose to loop back and start again from scratch, or choose to exit the game. An example of this would be as follows. They're given more text and a death scene, and they're kicked out of it, and they're offered, do you want to try again, yes or no? So yes. Now in this, to continue through, you have to choose the right options. This is the main area of the game. It's a massive room with 3 doors. You can currently enter the left door and the right door, but the main door remains locked for the moment. If you see here, if the user tries to choose that door, you find here the door appears to be locked, and it gives a hint on where to find the keys. So you have to enter the first 2 rooms, the left one and the right one, and you find 3 statues in this one, and the other you'll find 3 other items, and you have to choose the correct one. And this one, the correct one, would be the Anubis bust number 3. So you lift that and something appears to happen, but you still manage to escape safely. And this bit of text here explains that the door that leading into the room that you're just in has been blocked somehow. There, crashes in and causes the door to strain, and you manage to leave before the door collapses. This is to stop users from going back into the room once they've chosen the correct one. So you'll see here, if the user tries to enter room 1 again, you cannot enter here anymore because the door frame is collapsed. This is to stop them from accidentally choosing the wrong option in the same room again, or doubling their first right option. So if they do this for both rooms, in the 3rd room here, the other 3 options, there's where the hand, I'm pretty sure it's the hand in here. There we go. This one brought you to another option just to differ it slightly from the last room, where you're leaving the room and your hat falls and you have to decide whether or not to pull off an Indiana Jones move and reach back for the hat, or leave it. If you pull back for the hat, you'll end up dying, so we'll leave it to continue on. Again, if users try to enter this room again by going into the right room, you'll find that it's been blocked off. A stone wall blocks your path. Now that you have both of the right keys, you're able to enter the middle room. So as we saw earlier, if the user tried to enter the main door, it said that it was locked and you had to find keys. Now that you have the keys, you'll get this text which will bring you over to the final room. This text just explains how the 2 statues that you've gone from the other 2 rooms form a key, and you come in. This is the final option of the room, where you find the treasure that you've been looking for, and the final choice that you have is to either take photos of the room, like you should, or to take the treasure, which will spring trap and kill you again. If you choose 1, the correct option here, you end up winning, and that's it, the game's over. Then you're also given the option once more to try yes or no again if you want. There's also some error control in here, so if at any point during the options, if someone puts in an option that isn't an option, like this one is 1 or 2, if the user puts in 5, they'll get an incorrect input and be told to choose one of the options that's listed, and it will loop back on that question. So if we just exit the game now, if you choose no, I do not want to try, it will exit you out of the game. Here's the code behind the game. I chose to do the entire thing in a massive loop because I found this easier for myself to be able to control. And here are all the booleans which are used for the doors, to lock the doors after the user has correctly gotten the item out of them, and to choose the keys as well. These two are necessary for opening the main door. So if you choose the right option in the left room, left lock becomes true, stopping you from going into that room again, and left key becomes true. And then to enter the main room, left key and right key have to be true. There's also error clauses, which are used for error inputs, to check against the error input. So here's the do loop. This is the whole first text of the area. Then the user is given the options here, and the user will input the option which will be passed into opt1. Then this will be cast into an if and else if and else. The if of it will continue on. If it's chosen number 2, which is the correct choice, it continues on with the game, as you can see here. I'll just scroll down to the end here, where if they chose the wrong option, then it would give out the wrong answer if opt1 is 1, and it would break. I use the break function for all the deaths to break out of any loop that they're in, regardless of how deep into the loop they are, and that will bring them straight to the end game here. There's the else as well, for the errors, to check if the user has put in a wrong code or a wrong numerical value. The error boolean being set to true, and that's how the loop is continued. So if the error is true and it'll give the incorrect thing, it'll loop back and give the user the option again. That's pretty much the entirety of the project. If the user chooses the right option, then the right option brings them into the next question, which would be there, and then the same method of user input, but instead on a different variable, opt2 instead. And once again, the same way of going into the different rooms. If opt2 is chosen 1, then it changes here, and to go into the rooms left, right, or the main room, they all have an if to start off with to see if the locks are right or not. So if the lock for the left room is true, then it will just input this message and bounce them back out into the main room again. Whereas if it's false, then it'll continue on with what's in the left room, like this text here. This is the same for the other two rooms. Again, option 3, which would be the right room. If the door is locked, it will give the lock message and bounce them out. If not, it will continue on with the right room, again with the inputs and such, and again with the breaks on the death inputs. If it's the incorrect input, to break them, bounce them out of this loop entirely and bring them back to the game end screen, or the try again option. And then further down, if the option 2 is the middle room, which needs both keys from the other rooms, it will check to see if the left key and the right key are true. As you can see here, the right key, for example, will be turned to true if they manage to survive and choose the right option from the right room. Once both of them are seen as true, it'll continue on. Continue on with the different options and the possible winning of the game and such, or another possible death which would break them out again, or an incorrect message. And if they don't have both locks at the same time, then they will be given this message, which was the original message you saw in the closed door, telling them that they have to go into the other two rooms first. That's all really. It's one loop inside a loop inside a loop continuously, but I managed to make it all work, thankfully. And then the very end as well, the one more little piece for retrying if they want to retry the game. Again, user input, and if it is retry, you change the loop for the entire main game, which is again to true, and they'll try it again, and if not, it'll be set to false, and it will just give a game over output and finish the game. Right, done.